Now it's time to make Valentine's Day cake popsicles. I have 2 pounds of frozen Baker's Request white cake. This is a great use for your cake scraps. I'm using whole ones because it's what I have. Now, the key here is frozen. We're going to roughly break the cake up into pieces and drop it into our food processor. It's important to break the cake up first. Don't just drop it in and expect it to work. Next, we're going to pulse until the mixture looks like sand. The moment it looks like sand, not a moment more and not a moment less, we are finished. I do this in small batches so that my cake doesn't get gummy. To these 2 pounds of cake crumbs, I've got 5 ounces of buttercream at the bottom. I knead this very similarly to bread dough, but I've got to get the buttercream in to a spot where I can feel it first. So you notice I'm kind of moving the bowl around, kind of moving the buttercream in and out of the crumbs. It's really important not to put too much buttercream in your cake pops or they'll fall apart. Now that the dough is done, it's time to get started. Here's what you need to form the cake popsicles. An offset spatula, a 4-ounce gray scoop, popsicle sticks, my favorite, Bakery Essentials pan spray, and 4-ounce popsicle molds. First things first, take the top cover off. This seems like a silly step, but you're going to need it again. Second step, even though we're not baking these, is to put our Bakery Essentials pan spray into the molds. I tell you what, whether you're doing cake popsicles or panna cottas, all the way to entremets, pan spray is your best friend. Once we've lightly sprayed the mold, we're going to scoop the filling. 4 ounces of filling, we're just gonna drop it in the top first, kind of like this. Once the filling is in each mold, we're going to have to press it in. Take special care with the ends and the bottom of the mold. It can still be messy on the top right now, just make sure to press it in all the way. We don't want any lumps on these finished cake pops. Once you've pressed into all the molds, now it's time to even up the outside. Here's where I use the offset spatula. It's going to take a few passes to get it right. Make sure to save those scraps. We're going to use them for another round of cake popsicles. Press in and keep the spatula perfectly even. Once we have no overlap on the edges, you can fix the edges a touch, that's a perfect cake pop. This way it will dip in the chocolate cleanly and neatly. Double check those edges, make sure you don't have anything hanging over them. Anything that hangs over the edges will create a lip when you dip these in chocolate later. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert the popsicle sticks. You'll notice at the beginning when I started scooping, it looked like my prepared batter here would only make 6. Really, it makes 12. We overfill a little bit to scrape it off and make it perfect. Okay, so for the popsicle sticks here, I'm going to insert them right there, hold it down so it doesn't press up to right there. Next, we're going to put the top on, and we do this for a couple of different reasons. One, prevents my cake popsicles from getting freezer burn. If you do this once a week or once a month, it's gonna keep them nice and tight. And the second thing it's gonna do is if you stack these in the freezer, it'll make sure that they stay nice and flat while they freeze. You can stack another tray right on top. And now these are ready to go in the freezer. They must freeze all the way through before moving on to the next step, so I highly suggest doing this the day before at minimum. Now it's time to unmold the cake pops. You can see these are frozen solid. Key here is to pop them out here and then slide them up through the bottom. We want to work quickly because we want these little friends to stay frozen. If you need to do this in large batches, unmold them all at once and then pop them back in the freezer for a few moments. But I'm just doing a few, so I'm going to be able to keep moving. You can see that some of mine have gotten a little soft. They've been sitting out. That's actually good. We want them to be frozen enough to dip into our chocolate, but not so frozen that the chocolate will crack. So now we're going to dip. I'm going to use melted Van Leer Shine. We've added a little bit of shortening to it to help it set up. So for the exact recipe, please go to dawnfoods.com. We're going to dip, slide the bottom down, and lay it down. This is why you dip into a deli for these long, tall pops so that they can slide in easily. Okay. Let's use our pink. This is the same white Van Leer Shine with some shortening, and then we've used a Chef Master gel color. This one we've used our Princess Pink. Remember, these are for Valentine's Day, so our color palette is white and pink and red. I'm going to turn the tray so that I don't ever move finished product over, or unfinished product over finished product. I don't ever want to drip on my beautiful ones that are finished here. Okay. And I'll do the last 3 dark chocolate because everybody loves dark chocolate. We're going to very quickly drizzle and put sprinkles on because these are going to set quickly. The minute we're done dipping, it's time for decoration. So I have a veritable smorgasbord of sprinkles, all in the same hues as my cake popsicles here: red, white, and pink. So here we go. Sometimes we do the offset sprinkle like this, but you've got to get the sprinkles on before it finishes setting up. So we'll do 2 like that on our chocolate, off to the side. We always go over the top farther than we need to be. Some of these sprinkles are going to come off, so that's perfect. So now you've got it. Valentine's Day cake popsicles.